Hello, fellow gamers. I'm Gloryhound, and today I have with me the lovely DrGloryhogg. I know it's really rare for him to come on the show, but I'm really happy that you're here with me
I'm
today.
really happy to be here for you today.
Yeah.
It's nice to finally bring some class to the stream.
A monumental occasion.
Gods. Dang it. Almost had it.
You were so close.
I didn't have something prepared.
You were so close. I was leading you into it, and you couldn't take the bait. You couldn't take the bait.
Yeah, it's true.
Sorry. And hello to our chat today. It looks like we have Battlecry in chat. Hello, how are you doing? So, Backer 305 forgot to set the alarm. Oh.
You failed me. You failed me.
So, today we are doing a very special I'd Back That show specifically for Divinus on Gamefound right now. So, it just went up today, and this is a really interesting game. I'm excited to talk about this because we already love Lucky Duck games. We love Chronicles of Crime. We love, Destiny's, the other newest one to come out
Kingdom
with that
Rush.
Sort of app integration focused
Wonderful
on
World.
it. Oh, absolutely.
We have all those games. And to be very clear, this is our Patreon-sponsored show.
Right.
So we bought all those games with our own money, so I don't want to think about how much that's cost. We bought it all with our own monies that we did works for.
There's a lot of games, especially Kickstarters, that we go and look at on our show, and we do spend our own money on those Kickstarters and purchase them and get them in and play them for all of you because we're very excited about just crowdfunding in general. And for this particular game here, how many players is it? 4? It's a legacy style game?
I think it's 2 to 4. I know we've been waiting on this one for a while. Because
Right.
they've been doing a really good job of spoiling this one ahead of time. And Destiny's is one that we really wanted to get. And for whatever reason, between us and Greg, we were all like, yeah, we should get it. And then, like, none of us did.
We're not having this happen again.
We thought Greg was going to get it, and he didn't.
Never again.
And then,
Shall we
like,
trust Greg?
Stuff happened, and all of a sudden it showed up, and it blew up, and it was amazing. And we got to borrow Game Boy Geek's copy, and we played it on his channel. We really enjoyed it, and we played through all the base content. And now we're like, I don't want to have this happen to me again.
Absolutely. So Battlecry saying, let's see here. Oh, you're making it up by going all in on this one here. So this is going to be a game that is tile laying, and it is going to be a legacy style game. So you're going to be taking out characters, you're going to be changing the board, putting stickers on the board, putting stickers on dice as you go along. And this is a battle between the Norse gods and the Greek mythology, a Greek pantheon.
Which is not even a battle at all. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Greek pantheon just dies instantly. Just what did I got?
Wow.
What did I got? Their best guy is Zeus. That's like Odin's son is as good as Zeus. I'm just saying, there's not much happening there. What do they got? Control of the seas? Who doesn't?
Come on.
We have a world serpent. A world serpent. Come talk to me when you have a giant mythological beast. What's the scariest beast that they have in the Roman pantheon?
I think we've talked it. Well, probably Cerberus.
And he can handle a world serpent? I don't think so.
I don't know.
About Fenrir?
We've talked about...
I don't even need 3 heads. Fenrir has 1 head, and he can still bite off the head of Cerberus.
Talked about the pantheons a little bit with this on how they're very different. Like, I feel like the Greek mythology is very drama-y. There's always, like, some sort of drama for the mama going on. And then with the Norse mythology, it's all about, like, the hardships and knowledge and battle and, like, all these, like, I don't know, just more realistic
Well, so here's the difference, I feel like, is that the Nord, I don't even know what words are right now. I'm tired. The gods from Norway-ish area, what's the word? Say it for me.
The Nords or something?
I don't know.
Norse
Yes,
mythology.
there we go.
Norse mythology.
The Norse mythology, they're just totally cool if you die. And like, if you die within worship, they're like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Well,
and it's not even like a big deal. Like, if you die trying to do something to impress one of the gods, they're just like, yeah, that's all is expected. Like, they don't even really care.
There's some vengeful Norse gods, but like,
it's like
not in the same way. It's not like somebody's like, oh man, that girl's so pretty. Like, I'm just saying, possibly as good as Aphrodite over here. Like, and then all of a sudden, bam! Like, that person is cursed for life. That doesn't happen as much, I feel like, in the Norse mythology.
That does sound very catty.
It is very catty.
Like some high school stuff.
It is.
Oh, you think she's pretty? Ha ha! Medusa. Like, that's That seems. Oh, you want to turn into a bull and trick that one lady?
Speaking of
Boom,
Gorgons.
cursed forever.
Speaking of Gorgons, so if you they just went ahead and unlocked the Gorgon monster miniature.
No, that's the next stretch goal to unlock.
Oh, sorry, next stretch. They're
at
close.
130,
They're close.
and it's at 113.
They're almost there.
So yeah, this just popped up today, and it's already doing really, really well.
Okay, so this is a really interesting with the gameplay on this one here. So we talked a little bit about this having app features on it and stuff like that, and it's going to be leading the kind of story with it, which we've seen in Destinies, which I thought was really, really cool. You know what? One of the best things about this campaign is the fact that Lucky Duck has made so many app-based games, and we've played so many of them that I feel like this is just like the natural sort of thing to go to is Legacy, because when we played Destinies, I was like, oh man, I wish our characters continued along on this.
Right, that was like
and
probably my one critique was that I thought it would be more involved. So I thought from going from scenario to scenario that some stuff would carry over. The general story stuff carried over, but everyone was so like, oh, but what if I jump in and new people play at the third scenario and they didn't play at the first scenario? And I was like, it doesn't matter, really. You could just jump in. There's some little things. It's like jumping in the middle of a season of a show. You're fine as long as you don't jump in on the very last episode. And even then, like, yeah, you're missing some stuff, but you could still win the game without having played any of the other scenarios. Like, if you jump into scenario 3, you're fine. Battlecry
says, each app is better than the last. Yes. And I think that's the case here, is that this app integration that they have, they're getting rid of the QR codes, which the QR codes are easy and nice, but it also takes away a little bit, I think, from the art in the game. This, they have where it verifies the stickers, and then you put a number, and I feel like that's better because everything looks streamlined. Like, nothing breaks that boundary of like the beauty of the game and what's happening in the game. So I really, really like that. Excited about the legacy aspects. Dice rolling, you're going to be rolling dice and then purchasing these card elements that you're going to be combining to make like your little lands in front of you. And it's really about tile placement in this game. Which is
interesting, right? It seems like each app game they have has more and more gameplay. So the first one, Chronicles of Crime, was all about deducing things, right? It was a very sleuthy game. You had to try to figure things out. But there wasn't a lot of really like board presence per se. And then Destiny's added the miniatures and some die rolling, and it was still overall though a narrative game, right? It was a narrative game that the app helped you kind of explore. This one seems like it's got the most actual game associated with it, which, you know, I've played a lot of the other Lucky Duck games and I've liked all of them. So like I'm kind of excited. I don't think it's going to get worse by adding more game to it mixed in with their integration of the app.
And as you're laying the tiles down, you can also edit the tiles. You can edit the dice that you're playing as you go along with those legacy style features. And I'm excited to see what other legacy sort of features get added on to this game because...
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of stickers for the dice. There's stickers for your box. Like, it seems like you unlock different things. It seems like there's a lot that's in this. And I'm just really excited to see where they're going with it because like Battlecry said, every app game has just gotten a little bit better and added a little bit more gameplay. And so
absolutely.
This just keeps going up and up and up. So I'm kind of like pretty excited about this one.
So the big thing here is the free expansion. Every pledge comes with the free Pandora's Box expansion, which...
It's all the stretch goals, right?
Like, I'm always disappointed whenever we don't do the expansions for the Lucky Duck games because it always happens where it drops and I'm like, oh, I want to play more. So like...
that's true. Like we played through all of Destinies in like 2 sittings, basically.
I'm like, I wish I had the other stuff for this. I'm so upset.
That is true. That is true. It looks like there's even more too because there's a whole nother set too. Well, there's the Chest of Plenty, which gives you a way to store it all in there, and then the Chest of Plenty also comes with miniatures.
Yes.
Because before it would come with little meeples.
Right.
Instead, and it looked like the biggest one they showed on the Chest of Plenty, like one of the bigger guys, about the size of a toothpick. I definitely got out some.
Did you go in there and get your toothpick and you're like, hold on?
So here's the deal. So like a toothpick size, right? The reason why I say this is because I did math twice. I had to figure out whatever it is, euros to U.S. dollars, because I was like, oh wow, I was like, oh, it's like $110 or so. That's not bad. I was like, oh no, it's $140 for all in. I was like, okay, that's more than I thought. And then I had to figure out the sizing because I know the miniatures in Destinies were pretty small. They were like that. They weren't very big.
Yeah.
And so the biggest one they showed on the Chest of Plenty, this one here, no, not that one, some other one, is about the size of a toothpick. So like the biggest one. So just so you know, the miniatures are smaller. They're not as big as the ones you get like in Awakened Realms or anything like
They're
that.
going to be probably like
the Destiny's
the
one, I would imagine.
Destiny style ones, which
Yeah,
they
little
had
tiny
different
guys.
miniatures in there as well, because you had bigger ones and like a medium one, but the majority of the other ones were smaller miniatures.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Which I'm down with. I'm down because...
I'm okay with that. It's a smaller box.
Right, exactly, because it's a smaller box. So that's like the biggest pledge.
I'm not painting them, so I don't care how small they are. Make them smaller.
That's the biggest pledge level here, is the Chest of Plenty, where you do get the miniatures in it. The other pledge levels, though, you don't get the miniatures in them. They are little meeples and stuff like that, which the lowest pledge you can get here is for 59 euros here, which gives you Divinus and the Pandora's box. So that's like, if you're just interested in the game, this is a good pledge level to go with. Do you want to talk about the godly pledge?
Well, the godly one comes with, what is it called? Something, Hydra? I don't remember what it's called. There, Shadow of Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil? Sure. Shadow of Yggdrasil expansion, which is going to be just more content for it. And I thought was really interesting about this one is, although it's a legacy game, it kind of reminds me of Clank Legacy. When you got done playing with Clank Legacy, you actually had, when you put all your stickers on and everything at the end, you could still keep that board and keep playing on that. That's what happens with this one, too. It has an eternal game. So even though you will unlock stuff and add stickers, kind of change everything, at the end, you can still play with anybody as much as you want, and it's going to be its own special board that'll be different than everybody else's, because it'll be everything you've unlocked and everything you've done throughout all the different missions.
I think
that's kind of cool. You could compare to like other people's boards and be like, wow, what'd you guys do? Oh, that was bad. Like, you know, when you look at somebody else's Pandemic Legacy and you're like, wow, you
and
guys,
you're like, oh, you
guys did a bad
all
job.
did really, really bad job of taking care of that. You start giving them some pointers and stuff like that. You're like, hold on.
You don't need to be in my mind.
Yeah, she's gonna be in your mouth and in your face. That's what she does. Like,
she's
she can't help herself, okay? Like,
and they added in a whole bunch of the different myth scenario stories, which are just one-offs, where you're fighting against different beasts and different things that don't affect the main game.
More and more about this game. Okay, so, Doctor, I know earlier you were watching a stream with Addons in it, and they were talking about the app and all that. Any good info come from that?
I think you covered most of it. I mean, it was mostly me trying to convince them that they need a Cerebus plushie. Like that was most of what I did. I still hope there is going to be a Cerebus plushie. And maybe Puffins added in some way, shape, or form, because the way Vince says Pantheon sounds kind of like Puffin. You can get extra dice. They're not really needed. They're big, chunky dice. The stickers you can peel off. They're supposed to be very peelable. Like you put them on, peel them off if you wanted to. I don't know why you would. People were asking for a playmat. I didn't know if they said they were going to do a playmat for sure.
The dice are set to look like runes. They look like runes as you go along. Dun, dun. Anything else? Let's see here.
You covered they're actually using like AI to recognize the different stickers in order to not have to use QR codes.
Which is super exciting because, like I said, I love the QR codes, but they do take away a little bit from just the general art and theme that's happening, and to be able to pass over that and have them recognize the more like a symbol on there is just better.
Oh, check this. This makes a lot of sense. Be enough to defeat Medusa while she is guarded by her mother Keto. That's that diet's based off of that, right? The ancient goddess of the ocean.
I don't think so.
Just a bunch of seafood.
Hello, Nosferatu clown. Nosferatu? Are you backing this game, Divinus? I'm curious to know.
I feel like I would be shortchanging myself because I liked Destiny's so much.
Yeah.
That to not back this one, which has even more gameplay to it, just seems like it would be a mistake.
Okay, so here's the only thing that I am worried about. Lucky Duck Games becomes self-aware in 2022, says Battlecry.
Skynet.
For real. Lucky Duck QR codes everywhere. So, the tile placement on this, and then it being a legacy game and everything, reminds me a little bit of My City, in a way, which...
My City was more polyomino, though. It wasn't tiles, it was polyomino tiles. Which is different.
Polyominoes, but it was like I was playing the same game all the time, you know?
Yeah, I will say, though, with that one, there was very small changes to it. It usually took you 3 rounds before all the changes were put in, and then they added, like, a new wrinkle.
Yeah.
Which I think for our pacing, it would have been better if they would have done that, like, every 2 rounds or every round they just added new stuff. I can see why they did it. They made it, was it 24 missions you end up playing overall or something?
I'm thinking
in my city.
the only thing that's my reservation about this, just in general, because I personally didn't like My City a lot. I feel like, though, with the story behind the app and knowing that they have good writers writing this story and everything, that they've done that sort of thing before, like I have confidence in that, and being able to kind of change more of like yourself, you know, like, because in My City you just had like, oh, okay, you add a tile and you change the board, add a tile and change the board, and maybe getting more like player powers and stuff like that might make it more exciting as you go along.
Right, and it's like any game that has like an RPG style feeling to it. Like whenever you defeat a god or you do something and you win their favor and you get something, you'll feel like powerful running around with like, I've got Medusa's head. I don't know. You got Medusa's head. I'm running around just freezing people. Like, you're going to feel super powerful doing that.
Nosferatu says, you know, I'm super anti-app games, but this looks pretty good. Nosferatu,
at least they've done a lot of them.
Did you play Destinies, and have you played Chronicles of Crime? I'm curious to know. Because at this point, I mean, Lucky Duck could just, like, hand me, like, a deck full of QR codes and be like, this is going to be an amazing game. And I'd be like, sure, this is probably going to be an amazing game, because so far I've really, really liked everything that they've done so far with this. Those Vikings and Greeks. Okay, so
and some barbarians too.
Oh, and fight for either side. Vikings, Greeks, barbarians on this here.
I think we know which side I'm going to be fighting for.
Spoilers, okay? Nosferatu says, I feel like I missed the boat on Destinies, and I wish I got it, but I didn't. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier, and how we don't want to miss out on this one, particularly because we did like Destinies so much as well.
This could be better than Destinies because you are unlocking more and doing more things, which I always like. I love legacy games.
I love legacy games too, so much.
And look, you get to modify your dice to take away some of that kind of luck. Oh, and there's drafting. You're drafting the tiles, which is kind of a big thing. It's not like we just have the standard set of tiles all the time. You're going to roll your dice. You use those dice to draft the tiles, right? So if you want the 12, you're going to have to use 12 value worth of dice, and that means you're spending a lot of dice potentially, unless you get some of these upgrades that will let you get to those things a little bit easier.
Plus, I'm like 100% okay with how Lucky Duck is going through learning the game, and how basically you just pull up the app and you learn to basically play as you go along. I think with Destinies, I read the rule book, and there was like one singular thing that I had mentioned that probably I wouldn't have known if I hadn't read the rule book. Like, everything else was in the app, so it made it such like a seamless sort of thing. Oh, I'm so down for this. I'm so excited.
So which pledge level are you thinking? I think is the biggest thing. And what is everybody else thinking? Are they going to be backing it? I know Battlecry already backed it all in. I think I want to go all in on this one.
Nosferatu says, I'm looking at 8 legacy games unloved on the shelf beside me. Well, you just need to come down here, and you need to play some legacy games with us. If you're having issues with knocking out a legacy game, I totally recommend setting it up for the weekend and playing a whole bunch of those games back to back, so you don't have to relearn the rules or reread them or anything. That's how we end up taking care of our legacy games.
And what I like about this is, since it's 2 to 4, we can play through this, and we still have 2
complete
characters that are like left that we can play again if we wanted to.
I was thinking that too.
And they have like our favorite ones, right? You've got like the Nordic guy that's got like the blue on his face, which I'm gonna want to play, and then you're gonna want to play the one with purple as her background.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, they knew what was up with that.
Okay, pledge levels. Pledge levels. What are we getting?
So it's about $140 US to get the big box, which would be kind of nice just to have the big box, have everything, and then have the actual miniatures. Plus all the expansion content, which isn't the most expensive Kickstarter we've seen lately.
It's only $140.54 after a discount, says
yeah,
Battlecry.
see?
Only.
To be fair, most of these games are creeping up and up and up, and I don't feel like there'll be a ton of add-ons to this one. Maybe like a playmat or something.
Stop the creep, everyone. Stop the creep. I'm really upset.
Shipping is like the big thing.
Just makes it so. Well, hopefully the shipping won't be as much on this, because if they are going to do smaller scale miniatures on this, which I'm okay with, hopefully shipping won't be as much. I don't know. Maybe shipping will still be through the roof. I have no idea.
Cat is ridiculous. I feel like I'm holding someone's baby.
All I have to say is that I really want the miniatures in this, because going through and looking at some of these miniatures and everything, how disappointed would you be to have a little meeple out on the board instead of like a lovely Medusa figurine? Like,
yeah,
where was it?
Well, there's the figurine right there. I wasn't really feeling the meeples in this one. Sometimes you're like, oh yeah, these meeples will be fine. Or,
You're like,
oh,
that's
these
fine. These are just some troops. These are
standees.
some perfectly good meeples. And then you have this evil-looking Medusa character here.
And she can fit in your pocket like a Pokemon.
Who does she have next to her?
You can
She's
just
like
pull her out and just throw her at people and win battles.
a meeple hater.
I like meeples usually, but I have to say I did not like the meeples in this one as much.
The cat has trained you well, Doc.
Yeah.
Very well.
And there is definitely
very
a creep with the Kickstarter Gamefound. Whoa. Okay, yeah, get closer. Definitely. Jeez, cat.
Thomas says, the Kickstarter Gamefound creep is nuts. I know there is shipping crisis on, but it's hard to keep up with the hotness. I know, Thomas, like, there's a couple of really big games that we've backed lately, and
so many.
It's like one after another after another.
So many you don't know about.
Look at, she's like pushing away from you, and she's lovingly staring into my eyes. She's like, are you jealous now? She says, are you jealous now, mother?
It's a little ridiculous. Yeah, the All Edge Punch gets you to vote on a special mini also. So that's just value. That's money in the bank.
That's value.
Yeah, I can always resell that special mini for upwards of $2, $3. Who knows?
Okay, in the long run, though, let's be honest. With the way that Destinies flew off the shelf and stuff like that, if you end up playing a round of this and you don't like it and you get the big box pledge, you're probably going to be able to resell it like hot off the shelf.
That is one of the things. It is a lot easier to sell an all-in pledge sometimes than it is just a partial pledge.
Because people have that FOMO, and like, if they did miss out and they really, really liked the game, that's the pledge they're looking for. They don't want to have to go by and like get the pieces and stuff like that. So what's your decision, Doctor?
I want to go all in.
Oh, I want to go all in too.
I'm being choked out by this cat.
I want to go all, oh, kitty, you don't have to murder. You don't have to murder. It's fine. It's fine.
Gently put her down. On top of the dog.
She'll be back.
Yeah, because I just held her for 30 minutes.
Stop tempting me, you demons. Well,
you're only going to do the demi. Well, that's fair. You will get a decent amount of that content, and a lot of the content will be available later, because Lucky Duck is pretty good about that.
You'll just have to wait for it.
Exactly.
You'll have to wait for it.
Because that's kind of, with Destinies, we were able to borrow a copy, but if we wanted to get all the rest of the stuff, we would have had to have backed it at that time.
Right. Like, and purely, I mean, I was going to say purely because I don't want to miss out on it, but like, that's not necessarily true, because I really like the minis, and I really like Norse mythology and Greek mythology, so this is like...
I like one of those things.
100% right up my alley. Well, I just like mythology in general, so...
It's fair.
For me, it's super exciting going through all of the gods and goddesses.
It'll be interesting to see how that story unfolds, right? With like the Nordic gods fighting with like the Greek gods. It'll be really interesting to see like how they all kind of, because some of them seem like they almost are like similes of each other, right?
It reminds me of American Gods a little bit.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, were you?
I was like, is this going to be like American Gods, like the book or the
Which
show?
I also loved.
Where you're going through it and you're fighting the old gods versus the new gods. And then here's the thing, too. You're such a rat. You're like, I see everybody over here is fighting. I'm just going to, hey, guys, I'm a god, too. What's up?
Just a demigod over here. Just a demigod.
Just being chill.
If you want to, like,
Don't forget to worship me while these old guys are fighting. It's pretty chill, right? Seriously, though, in a fight, though, Thor versus Zeus? I mean, come on. Hands down. It's got to be Thor, right?
I guess Thor and Zeus would be a good...
He's got Mjolnir.
Mjolnir?
That too. He's got two hammers. One for the left, one for the right.
So then it's hammer time for him?
It's always hammer time for him.
Hammer time all the time.
Always.
All right. Well, thank you so much for everybody who joined us on our very short stream today. We hope
as we go all in and spend all of our money.
We hope that if you liked this video, you give us a thumbs up and maybe think about subscribing and ringing the bell to get notified whenever we go live, so you can join us in the conversation and see what we're doing. And then let's see. Oh, Studio Lanniston. Got to keep playing games, not adding new ones.
Studio Lanniston did a very good job of getting through their shelf of opportunity.
But if I were to back this, I'd have to give up my Bantam West. Ooh, that's a tough choice.
I will say that legacy games you kind of have to own, where something like Bantam West, as long as somebody you know owns it, you're kind of safe. Because you can always play it with them, right?
That's very true.
Where legacy games, depending on how you like to play them, you got to own a copy yourself. At this point, I'm pretty much at the point where I'm only going to play Legacy games at 2, 3 at the most. And that's either going to be like the kid or like one other buddy. That's it. I'm not playing in any bigger group because I need it. I need to play Legacy games like I watch television shows, right? I need to get them all at once. I don't want to wait.
Kyle said, this looks really good. I love Destiny, so I'm very tempted. Kyle, you know what? I think that was like the nail in my coffin for this particular game was how much I liked Destiny's, and going through there and being like, I wish Destiny's was more of a Legacy style game.
Yes.
And then having this produced, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is hopefully going to fill all the needs that I had previously had and wanted from Destiny. It's like, I'm hoping that fulfills that for me.
Agreed. That's all I wanted from Destiny's was for it to be a little bit more Legacy-esque.
Right, absolutely.
Because it felt like all the stories were not, the overall arcing stories were connected. You're in like the same kind of town, same-ish area, and seeing what happens to the landscape. But I wanted to know what happened to each one of my individual characters.
Right.
I wanted to play that character longer.
Exactly. So, in the comments before we leave, make sure and let us know if you are backing Divinus and maybe what level you're backing, because I'm interested to know who's going all in for those miniatures and who's like, oh, no, I'm okay. I can just get the base game, get Pandora's box. It'll be fantastic from there.
Remember, you can always sell your plasma.
Hot tips from Dr. Gloryhogg. You can always sell your plasma for board games. So
True.
There's that. Thank you for everybody who joined us today, and we will see all of you later in the week. Bye.